Hey everyone, this is Tony from SOVHORROR.com and welcome to the SOV Horror Podcast. Today we got a really special guest with us. We have Mr. Ron Ford. You may know him from a ton of different movies he's done. I mean, we'll show off some of his films in a little bit here. But first, I got to go through my plugs as I always do. If you're not aware, SOVHORROR.com is not only a cool website where we got videos, reviews, stuff like that. We also sell DVDs, and we have about 20 different DVD releases. And with Halloween coming up, I just wanted to kind of recommend a few of our releases that kind of have a Halloween theme to them. So first up, we got Death O' Lantern by Chris Seaver. He did this under his Warlock Home Video label, and this is a brand new special edition DVD loaded with bonus features, and it's a lot of fun. It's pretty much like Jacko meets the Monster Squad, if you know those movies. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. Check it out. And we have one more Halloween-themed film, and that would be Zombrella's House of Horrors. This is an anthology that I produced and co-directed with Tim Ritter, best known for the Truth or Dare movies. And one of the shorts on here, The Doll, which I directed, takes place during a Halloween. So it's another little fun Halloween short to kind of get you in the mood. And speaking of Halloween, we have two releases coming out in October. You probably remember from last time, we talked to Gore Filth about his movie Backyard Gore. It's pretty much a trash, no budget, DIY type gore fest. I think you guys will really like it. It's a lot of fun. And then the movie with the man of the hour right now, Mr. Ron Ford's Monster History 101. So let's just get right into it. Hey, Ron, nice to have you on the show today. Thanks for waiting for my long intro there.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, for sure. So, yeah, I'm really excited about putting out Monster History 101. I mean, I've been a big fan of your work for many, many years now. I think I first discovered your stuff, it's probably like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh.
I think the first one I saw was probably actually one of your shorts in the Alien Agenda series.
Mm-hmm.
I think that one was...
That's how they get you?
Alien Agenda's Endangered Species, I believe.
Uh-huh.
That one. And but you've done a ton of stuff. I mean, Hollywood Mortuary, Mark of the Vampire. I mean,
Mark of Dracula.
Mark of Dracula, yeah. Sorry. Got that one right here.
Yeah.
That one, another good one. Yep. And Dead Time Tales, can't forget that one, another classic. And so I'm really excited that we're putting out Monster History 101. You want to kind of
people remember those old things that we made for no money. I mean, it blows my mind. It's a great thing to happen at my old age. Finally get a little recognition for this stuff.
Well, you know, I think there's quite a few of us out here who do enjoy your work, Ron. And, you know, you've made so many movies. I mean, I kind of just grabbed some of mine here. I mean, I have just a giant stack. This was just what I could find, was this stack right here. These are all your movies.
Oh, those are all different movies?
All different movies. I mean, now we got Deadly Scavengers. I love this one with the killer bugs. And I have both versions of this, too. The Chris Mackey, who I'm a friend with, gave the original version without the CGI roaches in there.
Right. Well, Chris played the roach.
Yeah.
I prefer that version myself. I thought the big rubber bug suit was a lot of fun, but sure. Jerry Pfeiffer was not having it.
Right. So what was with that? They just didn't like the giant monster suit, so they wanted to go CGI.
He just thought it was too cheesy, I guess. But it certainly is less cheesy than. There wasn't even CGI. They just had pictures of roaches, you know, close-ups of roaches have superimposed over the damn thing, and that's exactly what it looked like.
Right.
Or at least this rubber suit has some character.
Exactly.
You know? Neat cast in that movie. It's a strange film, but I don't know. It had its charms. A lot of it's in the cast. John Fallon starred in it, and my old pal Tim Sullivan had a big role. And I don't think it's it's one of my better written films, but it has its moments. A lot at the end of it, a lot of people asked me if there was a lesbian thing between the two women walking off together, and I had never not thought of that at all. You know,
right.
They're the two survivors, so they leave together.
Right.
Anyway, so I go with it. If they want to have lesbian undertones there, read it in all you want.
Sure. Yeah, and you mentioned Tim Sullivan. You did a lot of stuff with Tim Sullivan.
Yeah, Tim's a really good friend.
Eyes of the Werewolf, and what you guys co-acted. Was that? Was he in Camp Blood with you? Wasn't he?
Yeah, we were both in Camp Blood.
Yeah, so that's another thing. You guys might know Ron from a lot of his acting roles as well. I mean, not only have you acted in your movies, but you acted in a ton of other movies.
Yeah, when I was in LA, I did a lot.
Right.
Here I not doing so much monster movie stuff, but a lot of commercials and occasionally some film things. I got to be on Z Nation, the zombie series, quite a few times. It was shot here in Spokane.
And that I saw that one commercial you posted recently, which was a lot of fun. That casino commercial that you were in.
Mm-hmm.
That was really cool.
Yeah, that was for a casino in Michigan. For some reason, they came here in Spokane and shot that. And then they wanted me to come back and do a series of commercials last March. And then right before I was going to get on the plane, they canceled it because of the pandemic.
Right. So, that's a bummer. Well, let's go ahead and get into Monster History 101. So you want to kind of give our audience an idea of what Monster History 101 is all about?
Well, I've made a lot of short films for different festivals and things in the last 15 years or so. Haven't really done many features. Haven't done any except for one. So it's a place to collect all those. Most of them are monster films, and the monster history idea was just a way to link them all together, because they're monster films, and a lot of them are in different eras. There's a lot of period pieces, so we could do them in chronological order.
Right.
Got the first one, I believe, is Thorn in Paradise. Starts as a medieval film, and we got 2 westerns and some contemporary ones, and Dr. Jekyll in Love. That's set in the 1890s or 1880s. So that was the idea. It was just put them in chronological succession and play this crazy professor who's teaching monster history to link everything together. This is pandemic stuff, so I had to kind of do it myself. I shot it in a room where I keep all my monster memorabilia, and I set up the camera and sat down in front of it and shot it all myself.
No, and you have an amazing monster collection. I mean, I loved seeing all that stuff in your room there.
Well, thanks. It's taken a long time to collect all that. I still have most of it after many moves.
Right. Especially, I'm presuming the creature is your favorite monster. Am I right in guessing that one?
Yeah, I have an extensive creature collection. I used to have, in my old apartment, I had the bathroom was all creature themed. I don't know, stuff, and then the 6-foot figure was outside the bathroom guarding it all. But
right
now I moved in with my girlfriend about a year ago in this house, and so it's all relegated to one room now. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's my favorite movie by any means, although I like it quite a bit. But it's my favorite of the Universal monsters for the design of the suits. I think it's a spectacular piece of design.
Now I got to ask, with Halloween coming up, are there any kind of staples that you like to watch every Halloween season?
Nah, I don't really do that. I don't know. I get hankerings all year long to see different movies. I've rewatched a whole bunch of old classics this year. But no, I don't really have a ritual about that.
Gotcha. Cool. So one of the things I liked is you actually host it, as we kind of mentioned, as Professor Matt Cobb, which I know you also use that pseudonym on Passion to Kill.
That's right. That was where it first started.
Yeah.
I needed a pseudonym because I was not going to have my name on that thing. There's this one of the plot elements is Ted Newsom played the late great Ted Newsom. Or was it Brad? Anyway, one of the characters, no, it was Ted. He rapes this woman, and then she comes back for more. And that was, I wasn't going to have my name on something like that. But I needed to finish the job so that I could get the job directing Witchcraft 11. It was a deal I made with Jerry. He said,
"Oh, okay.
You're going to deliver this movie on time, and blah 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 blah, and then you can do Witchcraft 11. You can do it on film." So I did. We had to get new girls there every day, you know. Just I ran through every favor I knew. All my friends are in it. Brad Sykes in there and Ted Newsom, and anyway, it's a real mess of a movie, but we got it done, and Jerry was pleased because he wasn't giving us any money, you know, to do it. And I think these Korean investors were expecting something a lot more. It was a sex version of Terminator called Turburator that they were financing, and so they would use actual effect scenes from Terminator cut into the movie in the Korean version. But Jerry retained all the crap that we shot, and he edited 2 different movies out of it. And did I go off on a tangent? Am I talking about the same movie? What movie were we just?
Yeah, Passion to Kill.
Oh, God almighty. Passion to Kill. Yeah, that's right. Okay, there was Red Light Stalker and Passion to Kill, were both movies cut from that experience, from the Turburator shoot.
Now, was the other version? I've never really seen that around. Did that actually get a VHS release or anything? Do you know?
The Red Light Stalker?
Yeah.
I think it did, yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I would love to see the Korean version.
Right.
The Turburator, but I haven't been able to find that anywhere.
Gotcha. Well, if I ever can track one down, I'll definitely share it with you there, Ron.
I appreciate it.
And you mentioned Ted Newsom, who I'm also a big fan of. Ted, actually helped me out when I was first getting into. I was doing a cable access show here in San Diego, old show called Mondo Bizarro, and I was just learning about public domain footage and how the legalities of using that stuff. And Ted was really cool and helped give me a lot of advice when it came to that. I know we were all, and you were part of this too. We were all part of that old retro media forum back in the early 2000s. And that was a great forum. I always thought there were so many great conversations, and I learned so much as, back then I was a lot younger and I was just getting into filmmaking, and invaluable resource for someone like me.
Yeah. Well, Ted's amazing that way. He made all kinds of films where he would use the clips from other movies, and never got sued over it or anything, because he'd always take the clips from a trailer.
Right.
Which is public domain. They want you to use the trailer footage. So, you ever see his Naked Monster?
I have seen Naked Monster, yeah. Yeah, that's a good
I'm in there. I'm the torch vendor singing Fa Rola Fa Roli from Frankenstein Meets Wolfman.
You know what? I just saw you
in moments, actually. What's that?
One I just saw you in recently that I just absolutely loved you in was Crack, Jeff Leroy's Crack. And you played the drug guy in the beginning there, cooking up the drugs in the bathtub.
Yeah, just right after that Dwayne Whitaker got a hold of me and befriended me because he thought that performance was so gonzo. Jeff was pissed at me the day we shot it. He said he thought I was putting him on and not playing it seriously. And I think I was pretty over the top, but that's the way I acted then. I've been a stage actor for a long time, and I'm a lot more meticulous about my work on stage. And a lot of my film stuff, I'm just spread so thin, writing, directing, and acting, that I'm just kind of, I'm going over the top and chewing up the scenery. But
right. Yeah, because I've seen, you do lots of theater work and stuff like that, and so you've done lots of directing theater plays and stuff like that as well.
No, I've directed a couple of plays, but it doesn't really grab my creative juices the way film does. As an actor, if I'm going to do a play, I want to be on stage. If I'm making a movie, I'd rather be behind the camera. But that's kind of changed over the years. I've done a lot more film acting. I think my work's improved a lot, and now I'm in the Screen Actors Guild and do a lot of commercials around here and things like that.
So do you prefer acting to directing, or would you rather be directing projects?
It depends on the medium. Film, I want to direct. Stage, I want to act.
Very cool, very cool. And we were talking about Dead Season, aka Craven Cove Murders. Mm-hmm. And this is one of my favorite pieces of my collection, actually. This is an old screener copy. I think William Combs sent this to me way back in the day. I don't think
I've ever even seen that box.
Yeah. It even has the press release inside of it from Combs Pictures, which is kind of cool. I used to run a DVD or review website, and got this sent to me, and that's how I discovered this movie. And it's kind of sad to me. This one seemed like it didn't really get a really big release, and it's such a great fun movie. Do you know?
Well, there's a reason for that. Is Combs? He married this woman who had a lot of wild kids, and I guess they went through all this shit, and he lost the master for the movie. Oh. These fucking kids, they took it or ruined it or something. So there was no master. No one wanted to distribute it until I met Joe Pinkerton, and he was willing to take it and the best quality he could out of the original digital tape. But yeah, that's the reason for that. I think I always thought it was my best feature.
It's one of my favorites for sure. I mean, it has such great atmosphere, and the story's just so great, and the performances are awesome. I mean, Ted is so great as the killer in that one. It's just so much fun. Yeah,
I knew Ted would be good in that. He didn't come prepared. He didn't know any of his lines. We were kind of feeding him lines as we went, but it was still. I mean, he's Ted. He nailed them all, and he has that look of pure evil on that weaselly facey of his.
Right.
Ted and I had a I don't know, a complex relationship. He could be really nasty, just super vicious, or he could be the most generous guy. Like you said about how he helped you out. When I moved back to LA, second time, he was the only guy that showed up and met me there and helped me unload my shit. Right. When we had a couple of friends who passed away, Mark Williams and Tim Murphy, and he was right there with those guys while they were, in their last days. A lot more attention to him than I was. And, yeah. Ted's a complex guy.
Yeah, it was sad to hear that he passed. Yeah, I always enjoyed his work. And I see right behind you with your posters there, Randall Malone, who's another quite a character. You worked with him quite a few times. Yep, Crawling Brain, Hollywood Mortuary. I just watched Crawling Brain again recently, and gosh, that movie is just so over the top great. I love it so much.
That's actually probably my favorite of my feature films.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, it was a title I had in my head for a long time. There was crawling eyes and crawling hands, and but no movie called The Crawling Brain. We had Fiend Without a Face, but it wasn't called The Crawling Brain. We saw that son of a bitch crawl though. Anyway, it went through a couple of different ideas in my head, but then William Combs was throwing money at me, saying make a project with Randall Malone. He wanted the Hollywood Mortuary crew back together, and I said, this is the time for The Crawling Brain. And I think it's a really fun movie. Ted helped a lot with that too. He got us all that Ronald Stein music, which was just perfect.
Yeah, the music is great in that.
Yeah, we got an amazing deal licensing that stuff for next to nothing. Thanks to Ted. He worked for Anchor Bay at the time. I guess they had that music.
Nice. Yeah, because I love how it kind of has, that 50s sensibility, but obviously it's got blood and nudity and, kind of all that over-the-topness.
Yeah. What I did was if Roger Corman and that gang could have had tits and blood in their movies in the 50s, they would have. They'd have done it. It was all about exploitation. So
for sure.
I made my dream 50s, monster movie.
Right. And one thing I've noticed is just with Randall Malone movies in general, that they seem like they're always shot at his house. Like just about every Randall Malone movie I've seen, his house makes some sort of appearance.
That's why he stars in so many low-end SOV movies, because he'll let you shoot in his house if you give him the lead in the movie.
Gotcha.
And it's a house full of antiques. It's very versatile for a lot of things. The Hollywood Mortuary was a funeral parlor. Dead Time Tales, it's an antique store. Worked for a lot of stuff.
And Daytime Tales, that was, did you have anything to do with the distribution of that? I know it was originally, wasn't it put out by a Dead Alive home video?
Yeah. No, I didn't have anything to do with it. No, it was originally, it was made as Things 3. It was going to be part of that series. That's why Dave Sterling has a credit in it. But the distributors didn't want, they said Things had played itself out. And so there's another movie out now called Things 3. But anyway, they wanted to change the title. It was Darren Ramage's idea for the title and the artwork. I was skeptical at first. I thought Daytime Tales sounds just so generic, but it's worked out well, I think. I love their art. It's like, it took me a while to figure out that that's a superimposure of a skull and a guy with a mustache, but it's just creepy as fuck.
Yeah, it's a really cool cover art.
Nothing to do with anything in the movie, but it's creepy.
Aren't most of the great cover arts that way, right?
Yeah, what was that one? There are people turned inside out. And that there's nobody gets turned inside out in the movie.
Right. Pure exploitation.
I think Steve Latshaw was behind that campaign.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, the maker of Jacko.
Yeah.
And I have a small Jacko connection. I work for Riff Tracks, which is the guys from Mystery Science Theater, and we're about to do Jacko for Halloween. And I recommended that title, so I'm really excited that we're going to be doing Jacko this year. Yeah.
I saw it advertised. I didn't know that you suggested. That's really awesome. I mean, that's just an amazing place to work. It's got to be.
Oh, it's a blast. It's a blast.
When I have time to kill and there's nothing else on TV, I go to the Riff Tracks channel.
Oh, nice.
It's always out of sync, but I don't care.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah. So, what else did I want to talk about today? Gosh, you have so many movies, Ron. I mean, so many. Oh yeah, gosh, how can I forget? We got to talk about, if I can find it here. It's hiding somewhere. Here it is. We got Natasha Knighty's Boudoir of Blood. So you contributed a short to this called The Road. And this is our latest in-house production from S.O.V. Horror. It features stories from Jeff Kirkendall, myself, and then also you. And it's kind of the sequel to Zombarella's House of Horrors. And The Road is what I really liked about all three of these shorts. So this is a modern movie, guys. It's coming out in November. But all these shorts are actually made either in the late 90s or early 2000s. So I think mine and yours, Ron, are made maybe a year apart from each other. But The Road is really awesome. It's a great zombie flick. And what was kind of the genesis for The Road?
Well, the guy in Canada, what was his name? He had a series of films called Gargoyles on Alexander McCone. And then this was going to be one of the. He asked me if I could come up with something for one of the segments of the Gargoyles 3, I believe it was going to be. But I didn't have any idea at the time. But there's these guys here in Spokane, J. Dean Gunther and Ben Foxworth, who had written this script, and a mutual friend of ours, Richard Lee, he's my lawyer, had this script and showed it to me, and I thought it was really good. We could make this for no money if they'll let me make it for no money, and they did. So, but I rewrote quite a bit of it. The whole prologue, the wraparound thing, was not in the script, and a lot of things weren't. Kind of a weird genesis. That the first version was way too long. It was like 45 minutes long, and it's talk. It took forever to get to the. Well, they weren't zombies, but we always call them zombies. It's convenient handle for them, but they're some kind of ghosts. They're creatures people that were killed on this road, and so they're still in the state that they looked when they died from their injuries, and they don't decompose. And you'll see them on one part of the road, and then later on they're further up on the road. So there's kind of magical. Supernatural things associated with them too. It's not really explained on it. It's called the dead ones. Anyway, so I wrote the wraparound thing where Richard Earhart's character crashes his car and he's smuggling drugs, and then I decided that he's dead. He's been dead the whole movie. It's not in the original script, so I wrote that in too. That he's a dead guy who's trying to escape this road. A really good cast. All of my favorite actor friends are in it, and we had a ball making it.
Right.
Mitch Tyner was involved in all my films since I moved to Spokane. He knocked himself out doing special effects, all the makeup for all those people. Plus being the zombie, or excuse me, the dead one pizza guy himself. I don't know, it's an interesting little movie. It didn't quite gel as well as I hoped it would on paper, but it's a pretty neat little movie, I think.
I like it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun, and I got to mention, I don't want to really spoil the movie, but I got to mention the zombie that you play, where your severed head that makes a lot of appearances in your films and other people's films. And
Yeah, that's the first thing.
From Dead Alive, where the head kind of comes off and back on and off and back on, and it's so fun.
That's what that head was made for originally. It's been used in a lot of things since too. Yeah, there's a film on it was a Adult Swim, a short film called Mops that I'm in. I play one of the lead characters in it, and at the end I get decapitated, and it's the same head seen going across the lunchroom and through the basketball hoop.
I was going to ask, what that head was originally from, because it's been in so many. I think it was in Camp Blood as well, and in Game Camera and a bunch of your other films.
Well, Game Camera, yeah, not in Camp Blood. That was some generic head that Brad Syke had. We didn't, really see the face of it in that. Yeah, so you see the back of the head. But yeah, and in Game Camera and Mops and a bunch of other stuff. Mitch has the mold. He's made several versions of it. I have one in my room.
Right.
There've been several of them made from that mold since.
Very cool. And I forgot to kind of mention it when we were talking about Monster History 101, but one of the things that I love so much about that movie is all the great effects in that film. I mean, you got some amazing stop motion animation, you have miniatures and kind of forced perspective stuff. The practical monsters, the monster on the wall in that segment, and even animation. The animation is really awesome. I wanted to ask you about that animation. From what I know, I believe you do all that yourself, right?
The animated, like the cartoon films? Yes, those were all me. Did them on a whiteboard with dry erase markers. But all the effects and all those films, except for the cartoon ones, it's all Mitch Tyner. He did it. Right. That stop motion creature in Thorn in Paradise was. It happened. We made that for the Demon Chaser Festival. We did that for several years until it got too expensive. They raise their entry fee every year. But so anyway, Mitch had this giant figure, manipulatable, animatable thing. So I wrote that into the script, and he added the bat wings and stuff and made it even more impressive. But that happened to be the year that Ray Harryhausen died. So the Demon Chaser Festival had a Harryhausen Memorial Award, and Mitch won that for that film. Nice.
And that is the monster on the cover of the movie.
Yeah.
So that's the monster right there, guys. So very cool.
Yeah, I mean, the dude stuck on the wall and the big throbbing thing, all those things, that's all Mitch. He's amazing.
Right, and you guys have worked together for quite a while. Did you start working with him when you moved to Spokane?
Yeah, 2003. The first film I did here was a thing called Snake Man, when I first moved here, there were these couple guys, Wayne Spitzer and Andy Kumpon, who had made short films, and they knew Kevin Lindemuth, and so he kind of introduced us, and. So they worked with Mitch before, so they introduced me to him, and Mitch and I just hit it off like that. I mean, we had the same minds, so we're both really warped and sick individuals, and so anyway, we've been fast friends, and he's been on everything I've done since then.
Very cool, and you guys do a great commentary.
Except for the cartoons.
You guys do a great commentary on the Monster History 101 as well.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a lot of fun. And Cool. Well, I know you got some. Also, you got some new projects you're kind of working on now. You want to talk about any of that stuff?
Well, yeah, I had a film come out in July that I played like the lead bad guy in, called the Cascadia Treasure. It's a family adventure film with a ghost and a treasure hunt, and it's a neat little movie, and it was good. Probably my biggest movie role since. If you want to check that out. Let's see what else. I wrote a novelization of Hollywood Mortuary. That's
Oh,
coming
wow.
out in April from Source Point Press, and working on a collection of short stories now. I'm taking all my old short films and things that never got produced and turning them into short stories. So at least these stories will exist in some form. And that I haven't signed a contract for that book yet, but we'll see. And what else am I doing? I'm in the middle of pre-production on a science fiction short film for John Ward. He's making an anthology of, what do you call it? Cosmic horror. I don't know what the title of the film's going to be, but anyway, so I know this guy who stunt doubled me in a couple of things, this local stunt man, and he started a movie studio called the Movie Ranch, Mystery Ridge Movie Ranch, like maybe 40 miles from here. So when I was out there rehearsing stunts for when he was stunt doubling me, he was rehearsing some stuff in a fight that I was getting in a film. They had this set, the standing set of a spaceship, a corridor in a spaceship, and then there's a cockpit as well. And he said if I ever wanted to talk to him, if I ever wanted to use some of this stuff. So anyway, I talked to him, and making this little space movie. I'll take space in outer space, very Lovecraftian. Two guys trapped on a ship nearing the end of the universe, and there's mayhem and monsters. Anyway, we're in pre-production on that. It's my most ambitious thing, technically. Mitch is making the monster and a spaceship model, and we got spacesuits. I went to a yard sale about a month ago with just the germ of this film in my head, and then I had two motorcycle helmets sitting there. They were like over the head, just really ornate looking thing. It looked like space helmets. So I wanted $1 a piece. So those are now our space helmets. That was a coup.
That's awesome.
That's called the Color of Outer Space.
Okay.
About as Lovecraftian as you can get.
Right. Very cool. Very cool. Well,
So not the color out of space, the color of outer space.
right.
Okay. And that's about it for right now. I'm working hard on the short stories every day. That's consuming most of my quarantine time.
Right. Now, is the Hollywood Mortuary book, is that going to kind of expand at all on the film, or is it kind of just pretty much the film?
It's very different. A lot of the incidents in the book are different. The whole Hollywood killing spree is expanded. They go into a movie theater where they're playing Borikov's films and kill everyone there, and it's a lot better. The movie kind of tries to be a mockumentary. We had interviews and stuff. So I've got interviews in there, and I've also got extensive footnotes and like a filmography of people involved and stuff like that. Like
Nice.
playing it like it's a book about real Hollywood people, and I don't know. It's really over the top, and I think it's I've had a lot of years to gestate on that story, so I think I expanded it in interesting ways. But it doesn't cover any more years or anything than
Right.
the movie. But it does tell a lot of different incidents from the film.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm super excited about putting out Monster History 101, and I'm really excited about having you and The Road as part of the Natasha Knighty movie. And when we got Monster History 101 from you, I was like, this is the perfect Halloween release, and we've been sitting on it waiting for Halloween, because I was like, I really want to save this one for Halloween. I thought, people are really going to dig this, with all the different monsters and all that, because I'm a big monster fan myself. I love classic horror as well.
Yeah.
I know I'm always
Well,
preaching shot on video, but I love, you know, the 50 stuff, the Corman stuff, you know, the AIP stuff, all that.
yeah, I mean, that's all my touchstone. I didn't grow up on the slasher films. I was an adult when all those things came out. I grew up on the old classics and the 50s movies.
Right.
Those are the things that have the big nostalgia tug for me. I got to thank you for giving me a chance to find a home for these short films. I didn't know if they would just kind of die in obscurity, and this is really great.
Well, we're excited to get them out there. I think people are going to absolutely love them. I think, yeah, I think our audience is just going to love them so much. So we're really excited about putting them out.
I hope so. That's cool.
Cool. Well, anything else you want to talk about, or any final words or anything before we kind of close up here?
I can't really think of anything. We kind of covered it all. We'll probably think of something as soon as we sign off.
Right. That's how it always goes. Well, we can always have you back. This is only episode 2. I plan on doing these things weekly. So I'm always be definitely happy to have you come back, especially, you know, if you got something you want to help promote, you know, of your work or anything like that. And yeah, just very cool to have you on and talk to you, Ron.
Well, here's one thing. Did you ever see Tiki?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Made for Fiddle and Ray.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
That was really fun. I think it came out a lot better than it had any right to.
I noticed the star of Tiki. She was in The Road, right? She was the license plate zombie girl.
Yeah, that's Jolie Smith, right? It's only 2 movies I think she was ever in that I know of. But a lot of those kids, they were all drama students at the community college here, and that was the main set for Tiki, and it was most of the cast was students at the college, and a lot of them. Well, Jeremy Lindholm is in The Road. He went on to be in Twin Peaks.
Oh wow!
I'm really jealous of him. You got to sit and chat with David Lynch, smoke cigarettes with him.
Do you know, does Fred still own that movie? Is there any chance we might get a re-release of that down the line?
Tiki? Fred owns it, yeah. It would be great if he did. Another thing, too, I haven't mentioned is The Fear.
Oh, yeah.
The Fear kind of put me on the map. I used to work as a driver in films, and I give scripts to producers. I worked on a thing called Red Surf with a guy named George Clooney. And so I gave the producer my script, and he just flipped over. He said, "I want to hire you to write a horror movie." And he did. He like 6 months later called me up and we wrote The Fear. Which was a big hit on videotape. Oh. Now, he is planning a re-release, and he's just recently gotten a hold of me. The producer of that film wanted me to do an interview for one of the extras in it.
Oh, nice.
So that'd be great.
Yeah, The Fear was cool. That was one of those early Apex.
Yeah, they actually saved Apex. They were going out of business, and Fear came along and kept them in business a few more years.
Right. No, yeah. I always loved that one, and I loved what really always stuck out to me in that one when I was younger, when I first saw it, was the whole story about Black Peter and the whole kind of evil Christmas bent that was kind of in there.
Yeah, Vince Edwards played Uncle something, Uncle Peter. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, there was paralleling him with Black Peter, the kind of the Krampus of European countries.
I was going to say, yeah, that was kind of way before the kind of, there's so many Krampus movies now, but back then that was still like, a new concept to a lot of us. We weren't aware of that,
Yeah, I think that was not in the original script. I think that was the director's idea to do the Black Peter parallel. He was from France, and so it was something he grew up with, his childhood myth.
Gotcha. Now, did you have? I'm presuming you had no involvement with the sequel to that, the Fear Halloween.
None.
Yeah.
No, except one thing. There's one scene where they talk to the guy whose grandfather carved Morty. And that scene was actually written for the first film. I wrote that scene. And the film, they never got, the film was shut down before they were finished because the director was so slow and indulgent, and they kind of put it together with what they had. And that scene never got shot, and then it wound up in the sequel. I was a little pissed about that. because I wasn't credited for it. But
Right.
it was pretty much all my dialogue in that scene.
Gotcha.
But no, I didn't like the sequel at all. It was
Yeah.
they should never make Morty speak. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. The sequel is not very good.
I had all kinds of ideas for sequels too. They were lot more original than that. There's kind of they just kind of did a retread of the original film. I thought with ridiculous, trying to improve it by making him speak smart-ass lines like Freddy Krueger.
Right.
It's not an improvement. But anyway.
And I mean, that sequel was very late too. It seemed like that sequel came out what like 5 or 6 years later, was it? I mean, it seemed like it was.
Yeah, it seems like it.
After, yeah.
And I wasn't involved with it, so I don't remember exactly. But yeah, it seemed like there was some time between.
Yeah, I remember like seeing it pop up, and it was just like, wow, they made a sequel to that, like all these years later, because normally when they bust out those direct-to-video sequels, they're pretty fast,
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was shot on film. That was $1 million budget. All name actors, and that's the biggest thing I ever wrote. They got produced.
Right. So you said that's getting a re-release?
Yeah, that's what Greg Sims told me. I haven't heard back from him. It's been a while since he'd asked me about it, but yeah, that's what he tells me. Only the original release was kind of pushed into release. It wasn't color corrected, and it should have looked a lot better than it did. And I think that he's going to try and remaster it and do a good release.
Right. Yeah, I think the DVD I have of it's like full screen, and
yeah. I have DVD. I have a laser disc of it that they gave me. I never had a laser disc player, but I got
is the laser disc in widescreen by any chance?
I've never seen it. I don't have a laser disc player.
Gotcha. Cool. Awesome. Well, it's been great talking to you, Ron. Thanks for coming on and rapping, and we'll definitely have to have you on again. Once you got something else you want to plug, or if you just want to come on and chat some shot on video.
My pleasure. Anytime. Yeah.
And
great.
Definitely, people, don't forget Monster History 101. It is coming out October 13th. It's loaded with special features. There's an extra short animated film, which I absolutely love. Ron, that one's so good. I don't want to spoil it. The Gonzo District, but it's a lot of fun. And it's definitely relevant to our times.
Yeah, and it was made for a festival here, and the critics, the judges who wrote their responses to it, not one of them caught on that it was a parody of a Twilight Zone episode.
Wow, that's crazy. And
that was pretty obvious.
Right, it's very obvious. Yeah, I love it. It's so funny. It's so great. And
well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's a personal favor. I did that. That was a 48-hour film slam. I made that entire cartoon in 2 days.
Wow.
From start to finish. I read the original story of It's a Good Life, the warning of, and then I got you go in the evening and they give you the parameters for your film, and things you have to include in it, like a coin, so flip a coin in the movie. So anyway, and then I had that story fresh in my head, and I thought, this is a perfect political parody little subject. Right. I love that little film. It's to me, it's a little miracle movie because I made the whole thing in 2 days.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's very cool. And there's also you possibly remember recording this, Ron. So about 10 years ago, I think it was 2010, I contacted you to do an interview for the S.O.V, the True Independence Project, and we've added that interview to the disc. So it's about, I cut it down a bit, but it's about a 40-minute long interview with you, and you discuss a ton of your movies. Hence why I'm not going to go into all of your movies today, because a lot of that is on the disc, and I want people to pick that up and they get the background. You tell a ton of great stories on that.
Yeah, I hope it's not too embarrassing. I don't remember doing it.
No, I think it's really informative. I think fans of your work are going to really love it. So it's a really good interview, and I was really excited to put that on the disc there too. So, and I think what else we got on there? Yeah, the Man Without a Saddle pitch video, stills gallery, yeah, and we got a nifty shot on video postcard in there too for people.
Sweet.
So people can hang that up on their walls or send someone a letter. I don't know.
Send it to your grandma.
Yeah. Tell her shot on video horror. Awesome. Well, hey, Ron, thanks again for coming on. It's been a blast talking with you, and we'll definitely have to chat again sometime soon. And really excited about your other projects. Definitely keep me posted. I definitely want to check out your short in the John Ward thing. I've heard about the anthology. Sounds really fun. So
Cool. Well, thank you. Thank you again very, very much.
for sure. All right. Well, hey, everyone. Thanks for watching and listening. In case you were listening to this, there is also a video version of this available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/user/SOVHorror, or you can find a link at SOVHorror.com. The audio versions are on Spotify, should be on iTunes soon, Anchor FM. So follow us, guys. We're also on Facebook, SOV Horror. And is there any place people can contact you, Ron, in case they want to talk to you about your films? Or
I guess the easiest thing is just Messenger on Facebook. Just go to my Facebook page and hit message.
Cool. Awesome. Well, hey, guys, thanks you so much. Thanks again, Ron. And SOV equals love, guys. Thanks.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thanks again.
Thanks so much, Ron.